An ancient manuscript emerges from the shadows, bringing a shocking revelation about Jesus' crucifixion. What has been believed for centuries may be about to be challenged. The worn pages of this non-canonical document whisper hidden secrets that the Church preferred to keep silent. What if the crucifixion wasn't as everyone thinks? What if the story we know has been manipulated to fit a convenient narrative? Imagine a Jesus who was not nailed to the cross in the way tradition claims. What do the forgotten accounts have to say about this execution? Why were these texts banned and buried in the dust of time? With each new discovery, we come one step closer to the truth, but the question remains, what else is hidden in the shadows of history? As we delve into this mystery, prepare to reevaluate everything you thought you knew. What do the powerful fear you will discover? Truth may be stranger than fiction, and this journey will reveal a Jesus few have dared to imagine. Follow us on this revealing investigation and uncover the secrets that could change everything. Recently, an ancient manuscript caught the attention of scholars and curious people. This document, which has very specific characteristics, suggests a new way of understanding the crucifixion of Jesus. When looking closer, we see that it provides details about the historical context in which it was written. This helps to understand the beliefs and practices of the time, offering a new perspective on such a significant event in the history of Christianity. The features of the manuscript are intriguing. It presents writing that dates back to a period in which orality dominated the transmission of stories. This raises questions about the authenticity and intent of the author, who may have sought to preserve a tradition that diverged from the official narrative. When investigating its origin, it becomes clear that this manuscript may have circulated in communities that sought to understand Jesus in a different way than we know today. Furthermore, the historical context in which the manuscript was written is fundamental. The time was marked by political and religious tensions, and this may have influenced the way Jesus' crucifixion was interpreted. This new analysis invites us to reflect on how history is told and which voices are heard or silenced over time. Many do not know, but there are several traditions and texts that are not in the New Testament and that offer other narratives about the life and death of Jesus. These non-canonical sources present us with views that can challenge the traditional narrative, bringing new nuances to the figure of Jesus and his role in society at the time. It is interesting to note how these alternative stories can broaden our understanding of their teachings and actions. Among these texts, we find Gospels and accounts that speak of Jesus in ways that often depart from what is generally accepted. These documents speak of his miracles, his interactions with the marginalized, and even aspects of his death that are not present in the canonical narratives. These different perspectives can insert new elements into the theological and historical discussion about his life. The theological implications of these sources are vast. They lead us to question what we really know about Jesus and how this relates to the faith we profess. This does not mean that canonical traditions are disregarded, but rather that we are being challenged to look beyond them to understand the complexity of the historical character. When we compare the traditional description of Jesus' crucifixion with the new evidence presented in the manuscript, we notice significant differences. The traditional narrative is based on accounts that have been widely accepted over the centuries, but the manuscript suggests an interpretation that could change that view. For example, he presents details about the execution process that are not common in the stories told. This new information may imply that crucifixion was not just an act of punishment, but also a response to a number of social and political factors at the time. This makes us question whether the way we understand Jesus' suffering is really the only way to see it. The comparison between the narratives opens up a space for debates and reflections on the meaning of the crucifixion. Furthermore, differences in the representation of the crucifixion can impact the way believers relate to the figure of Jesus. If new evidence brings to light a more human Jesus, who faced challenges and injustices in a more realistic way, this could generate a deeper connection with his messages. This contrast is not only an academic issue, but also an opportunity to reevaluate our beliefs and traditions. By confronting the traditional narrative with new evidence, we are invited to participate in a richer dialogue about the life and death of one of history's most influential characters. When we look at the history of the Church, we realize that not everything is as simple as it seems. Often, maintaining authority and doctrine was a priority. Belief in the crucifixion as a central event of the Christian faith has provided the Church with immense power over the centuries. By assuming that other narratives could challenge this belief, the Church found itself faced with a dilemma: accept the diversity of interpretations or protect its power structure. Furthermore, there was fear that accepting alternative versions of the story of Jesus could generate confusion among the faithful. The concern was that this might undermine the unity of Christian doctrine. Thus, the Church, in its search for cohesion, may have chosen to silence these dissenting voices. It's as if, by suppressing these narratives, they want to maintain a clear and direct line that all followers can follow. Another factor to consider is the political influence that the Church exercised. The relationship between religion and power has always been complex. By suppressing narratives that could weaken its authority, the Church guaranteed not only the faith of the faithful, but also their privileged position in society. The story of Christianity is not just a story of faith, but also of power and control. In addition to questions of authority and politics, there was an emotional aspect. Many people have found solace in the narrative of the crucifixion as sacrifice, which offers a sense of redemption and hope. Changing this narrative could provoke a crisis of faith among followers. Therefore, the Church may have felt that protecting traditional doctrine was a way of protecting individuals' faith. The motivations for suppressing these alternative truths are not just historical. They reflect an ongoing struggle between faith, power, and the search for truth. This dynamic makes us reflect on how history is shaped and retold, and which truths can be left aside in the name of a more convenient narrative. The new interpretation of the crucifixion brings to light a series of questions about Christian theology. If we consider that Jesus' crucifixion can be seen differently, this can alter the understanding of the concept of salvation. Many Christian doctrines are based on the idea of Jesus' redemptive sacrifice. Changing this narrative could therefore destabilize theological foundations that support the Christian faith. An important point to be discussed is the concept of sacrifice. If the new interpretation suggests that the crucifixion was not an act of sacrifice, but rather a nuanced event, it may lead theologians to rethink the meaning of the sacrifice itself. This new look could offer a richer understanding of Jesus' actions and his message, perhaps emphasizing aspects of love and compassion rather than pain and suffering. Furthermore, the resurrection, which is a central pillar of the Christian faith, could be reevaluated. The idea that the resurrection is a confirmation of the sacrifice may not hold if the understanding of the crucifixion changes. This could open space for new interpretations about life after death and the relationship between the human being and the divine, profoundly influencing modern theology. Another implication of this new vision would be the way Christians relate to their faith. If the crucifixion is seen in a new light, believers may be led to pursue a faith practice that emphasizes understanding and empathy rather than simply accepting dogma. This could enrich the spiritual experience and promote more open dialogue within the Christian community. This reinterpretation is not limited only to the theological scope, but also to the way the Christian tradition is lived and practiced. The way people understand their relationship with God and others can be profoundly transformed, leading to a more inclusive and reflective faith. This change could have a lasting impact on contemporary Christian spirituality. Contemporary reactions to the new interpretation of Jesus' crucifixion have been diverse and, in many cases, intense. Scholars from different areas, such as theology, history, and literary criticism, began to discuss the implications of this new reading. Many scholars are excited about the possibility of revisiting ancient texts and challenging established interpretations. This openness to dialogue is seen as an opportunity to enrich understanding of the figure of Jesus and his crucifixion. On the other hand, There are those who react with skepticism and even resistance. For some theologians, the new evidence could threaten the basis of their beliefs and practices. This tension between tradition and new interpretation is palpable in academic and religious debates. The defense of faith often clashes with the search for historical truth, and this creates fertile ground for heated discussions. Should faith adapt to new discoveries or remain firm in its convictions? The religious community, in turn, also presents varied responses. Many believers feel confused or insecure in the face of this new information. For some, belief in Jesus as Savior is intrinsically linked to the traditional narrative of the crucifixion. Thus, the idea that this story could be retold or reinterpreted can generate fear of a possible loss of religious identity. For others, however, this new perspective can offer a chance to deepen spirituality and find new meanings. The implications for modern Christian faith are vast. If the new interpretation is widely accepted, there may be a re-evaluation of practices and teachings within Christian communities. The way Christians understand salvation, sacrifice, and the figure of Jesus itself could undergo a significant transformation. This could lead to a deeper discussion about what it means to be a Christian in the contemporary world, especially in a context where diversity of beliefs is increasingly evident. The search for historical truth and the need for faith seem to be in a constant dialogue. The tension between tradition and innovation is revealed not only in academic debates, but also in the daily lives of religious communities. As more people come to grips with these new interpretations, the future of Christian theology may be influenced by these dynamics, leading to greater reflection on the relationship between faith and history. And so, as we delve into the pages of this ancient manuscript, we are confronted with a version of Jesus that many have never imagined. What would happen if everything we know about the crucifixion was based on a manipulated narrative? This theory, which suggests a different execution, raises questions that challenge our understanding. Why has the Church chosen to silence these voices? What else could be hidden in the shadows of history? With each new discovery, the line between faith and doubt becomes thinner. What if there are other forbidden texts, other hidden secrets that could change our perception not just of Jesus, but of all religious history? The search for answers is never-ending, and each clue leads us to new mysteries. Now imagine if you could unlock these secrets. What questions would you ask? What truths would you be willing to confront? Keep exploring, keep questioning. Hidden knowledge awaits, and the next revelation could be just a click away. Stay tuned, because the journey has just begun. What else will you discover about the true story of Jesus?